Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are doing a season preview for the VCT EMEA for the team Karmine Corp. Karmine Corp was quite the team last year. They were very bad. They became one of the biggest memes throughout VCT EMEA regular season. Looking at their 2023 placements at lock-in, they placed 9th to 16th. They beat Fun Plus Phoenix, the Chinese team, not the team from 2022. Then they lost to Loud in a 2-0 match, and then the regular season started, and then it just became a full-blown disaster. They placed 10th, very last in the entire league, only winning 2 matches that entire 10-game run, and they just looked really bad. They had disaster after disaster. They had their pickup during the offseason, New Zera, leave halfway through the season. Not even halfway, it was like maybe after like 3 games, maybe 4, and then their assistant coach had to step in to fill that void because they didn't have an extra man. And with Scream as their IGL, it just really did not work out because, no offense to Scream, I think Scream's a great player when he's put in good positions, but he's really not an IGL. He really should not be IGLing. Then during the last chance qualifiers, they placed 4th, so not the worst record, but they only won 1 match out of that whole tournament, so it doesn't really say too much. So after a season like that, why would you keep literally anyone on the roster? The answer is they didn't, except for one in Shin, but everybody else was out. Scream, Navera, XMS, and New Zera was officially dropped during the offseason. So the new roster for players in include Magnum, Martine, Narrate, and Tom Z. One thing to note about all the players that they picked up is last year in 2023, all of these players were a part of Tier 2 rosters. So Karmine Corp is not the only team betting on a lot of Tier 2 players, bringing in them from the Tier 2 system, and I'm sure for some of the teams that are doing it, it will work out. Will it work out for Karmine Corp? I'm not too sure. I do have questions about this roster's construction, but we'll get to that in a minute. Championships won by the org is, of course, 0. They haven't really had any, big stamp on Valorant so far, and being an org that is very popular in France, they definitely want to change that. For the 2023 MVP, I put Shin. It doesn't really matter. I mean, you could maybe put Scream, but Scream being their IGL is one of the reasons why they weren't very good. But he does have decent stats overall. He is good at fragging. I just put Shin because, Shin performed well while being under, just the pressure of playing so many different roles. Looking at the 2023 stats from all of these players, Shin had 429 kills, 457 deaths, 208 assists for key ratio of 0.93. His character list is crazy. He played Fade, Viper, Raze, Sofa, Gecko, Breach, Astra, and Sky. This man played every role except for Sentinel, I guess. He played Duelist once on Raze. He played Controller with Viper and Astra, Initiator with Gecko, Breach, and Fade, and Sova. It's just, and it's different from a player like Forsaken, where you'll look at his character list and he'll have so many different roles played, but it's Forsaken, that's what he's known for. He's known to be able to be very flexible and play a lot of different characters. In the case of Shin, he's able to, and his stats aren't terrible. His 0.93 KD ratio is not bad, but I think this is more of a case of this team just did not have any clue what they were doing, and they just had to throw something at the wall, and Shin playing all these different roles was a part of that. Moving on to Magnum, who will be this team's IGL. He had 958 kills, 809 deaths, 268 assists for K ratio of 1.18. All of this was in the Tier 2 system. For characters he played Killjoy, Cypher, and Viper. Magnum does have previous experience in Tier 1, being a part of Fnatic rosters in the past. He hasn't made a huge impact thus far, but he's a solid player, and him returning to Tier 1 is probably something that should be good. His Tier 2 team in Apex that he was part of last year made it all the way to Grand Finals of Ascension in EMEA, but of course lost to Gentlemates. So Magnum performing well in Tier 2 definitely earned him a spot on a Tier 1 roster, and this is the one he ended up on. Hopefully he can bring this team some really good structure, being their IGL. Moving on to Martine. Now, in my opinion, this is where the roster gets a little bit wacky, and mainly it's just based off of the roles that these next 3 players played. You can already see it on the board, but all of them played mostly Duelist, which is interesting that they picked up 3 players that are like that, but we'll talk about it. Martine in 2023 had 1,018 kills, 696 deaths, 244 assists for KD ratio of 1.46. He played Jet, Brimstone, Neon, and Phoenix. So those numbers look really good, but you have to keep in mind that Martine, of course, he played in Tier 2 last year, and these numbers are mostly out of the Tier 2 league in Italy, so it's a smaller sample size. It's against competition that really isn't, no offense to the Italians, but obviously that being a smaller country, smaller league, a smaller talent pool, that, you're going to have easier competition if you're one of the better players, and it seemed like he was one of the best. His team did not qualify for the Ascension tournament. They did play in a play-in, but they ended up losing within the group stage. So he seems like a good player. He's good on Duelist. He plays Phoenix, which is, very rare for, especially this meta and, any past meta. He could be their best option for Duelist. I'm not sure what he's going to play. This team hasn't played in too many off-season events, and one of them was still with the roster that has Scream and Vera on it. But when you have two other players that can play the Duelist role as well, that might be better, Martin might not get the role that he might be best suited for. Moving on to Narrate in Tier 2 system in North America, he played for the team Mad Lions. 509 kills, 443 deaths, 125 assists for KD ratio of 1.14. He played Jet, Neon, and Raze. He did replace Will partway through the season as the main Duelist player on Mad Lions. That team didn't really have a good season once they made it to the top of Tier 2. They ended up being relegated as well, so tough season for the team, but Narrate performed well overall. There is some really good talent in North America at the Tier 2 level, so being able to still maintain a pretty solid KD ratio on a team that wasn't very good is definitely a good sign for Narrate. He should be a solid player for them. But again, will he be the Duelist player, or will it be any of the other two players that can? Looking at Thomas E next, I hope I'm saying that right. 1,082 kills, 832 deaths, 231 assists for KD ratio of 1.30. He also played Jet, Neon, and Raze, and he was playing out of the Portugal Tier 2 system. The team he was on, Saw, did place 4th within the EMEA Ascension tournament, so he was a big part of that. They also lost to Gentlemates, so definitely Karmine Corp looking at that tournament for talent to pick up for the season, and these are the players that they went with. So overall, when I look at this roster, I think, they could definitely put up the kills. They have players that can play Duelist. Shin, hopefully he gets to stick to one role. Probably Initiator would maybe be my guess. But, they might be a team that runs a double Duelist comps here and there. I don't know, it just kind of seems like a worse version of Leviathan, if I'm being honest, where, they have players that have a lot of talent, have a lot of, kills, but can they be structured enough? Will they be able to be flexible within different comps? I don't really know, and I don't know if I have the confidence in this team. Leviathan, I do think they can overcome the problems with the amount of talent that they have. With this team, I don't know if I see that. Narrate should be good for them. Shin should hopefully have a better season, being able to, maybe be a bit more focused. Megdom, hopefully he improves their IGLing from last year. But I don't know. I still look at this roster and I don't know if I see a lot of potential here. Moving on to their maps last season, they were very, very bad. So looking at their best maps, these are the two I could come up with. Bind, they were 1-0 on. That's right, they only played it once, and that's their best map. It was bad. Attack was 62% win percentage, and defense was 46%. Icebox, 1-1 record. They only played it twice. Again, these were the best maps they could find. Attack win percentage was 38% and defense was 50%. So yeah, they were bad. They were bad on most maps, if not all of them. Their worst ones were split with a 1-5 record. Attack was 40%, defense was 24%. Ascent even worse, 1-6, 32% on attack, defense was 41%. So they just could not find their footing on any single map. They just didn't have the structure. They had roster changes throughout the year that, where they had their assistant coach having to step in. That's insane. That should not happen. Every team should have an extra man in case of things like that. This is why you have an extra man. And yeah, overall, it was just a bad year last year for them. Again, I don't know if I see a lot of potential within this roster. I don't see this team being among the top of the EMEA. I don't see them making it to Madrid, but hey, crazy things have happened. Maybe they find a way to prove me wrong. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think this team is going to actually be good, or will they have a similar year last year and be in the bottom of the EMEA league yet again? Please click like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.